with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
I legitimately watched the entire women's triathlon the other day. I got to tell you, that was exhilarating stuff. But I was locked in because what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com and Dingo TV channel 217. Light music mishap on the start of the show today, but we don't really care because the show is not about music, it's about sports, and we have a lot of them to talk about today. I'm Andrew Romanella. I will be with you till about 7:30 or so. 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV channel 217. If you miss any of it, the podcast, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Here is the deal. We have to start this show by wishing a very, very happy birthday to my brother, Rocky Romanella. It is Rocky's 7th birthday today, I want to say. 37 is what we're going to go with. So a very happy birthday to my brother, Rocky Romanella. It's a Tuesday. So normally we get all excited and it's like, all right, well, you know, we're going to have Rocky on the show. It's Hockey with Rocky. Well, he is traveling for work today. I think everyone can relate to that. Once you get to a certain age, you no longer just like stay home for your birthday. Generally, it becomes you're working on your birthday. So my brother flying to Orlando today, but since the Rome Show and Rocky Romanella seemed to be a thing, we thought we would take a quick second to thank Rocky for his time weekly, for his hockey knowledge. As his brother, I thank him for his life knowledge, his protectiveness, all of the things. But from the Rome Show family to Rocky Romanella, we just wanted to wish him a very happy birthday. And we look forward to him coming on the show on Wednesday, 9/18. So that's tomorrow, to break down all of the hockey news that we need. Let's see if we can find a Rocky sounder before we dive into football.
Hearing that it's important that a team is practicing their defensive 2-minute drill, because no one in the NFL can stop anyone with like, if you have over a minute left, you're kicking a field goal every time.
You know, Rocky, I'm really appreciative that you said that, because that's where I want to start the show today, which is Monday Night Football last night. Now, we're going to get into some Monday Night Football, talking Falcons versus Eagles. I got a little bit of Mets for you because there was a huge walk-off win for the Metsies last night, plus the Braves got shellacked. And then I thought, for the people, I would spend some time ranking the remaining undefeated teams in the National Football League. So there are currently 9 teams undefeated in the National Football League right now, and we are going to rank those 9 heading into week 3 plus your daily banana. So quite the show for the people. But since Rocky makes the point about 1-minute defense, I want to break down the Eagles versus the Falcons. So for those of you that may not have watched it last night, may not have been able to stay awake, or just don't really know what happened, the Eagles lost to the Atlanta Falcons 22-21 after holding a 21-15 lead with 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining in this game. Now, there were 3 key plays that happened in this football game under 2 minutes remaining that made a significant difference. The Saquon Barkley drop on 3rd down, that was key. The touchdown, obviously scored by the Atlanta Falcons, but then with 2 timeouts and 34 seconds remaining and the ball on the 30-yard line, the Philadelphia Eagles had a chance to at least get into Jake Elliott territory, which is in the 60s to 55-yard range, and Jalen Hurts threw an interception. So I have those 3 plays for you right now. Here were the final 3 most important plays of Monday Night Football that led to, in less than 1 minute and 40 seconds, the Eagles going from a 6-point victory to a 1-point loss.
Hurts, Barkley dropped it. Wow.
Look at the bottom of this video. It's 34 seconds remaining with which that touchdown was scored. It was 1 minute and 42 seconds when they ran that 3rd down play for Saquon Barkley. So just think about what went on in 1 minute and 7 or 8 seconds. Okay. The Eagles missed a third down, which stopped the clock for Atlanta, who had no timeouts remaining. They then kicked a field goal, kicked the ball off. Then the Falcons, with no timeouts, drove 70 yards, accomplished 4 first downs, scored a touchdown, okay? And then after this, which I don't have on this video, there was Drake London had a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after the field goal. So the extra point was 48 yards for Koo, and he knocked it down. And that all went on in a minute and 8 seconds. Here's the final play of the game where the Eagles are trying to drive, but Jalen Hurts throws a pick. Victory of the year for the Falcons. So here's the deal, people. Okay. We don't play these clips to eviscerate the Eagles. Okay. I think I say this the most out of maybe anybody on radio, at least that I know. The first 3-4 weeks of the NFL season are not necessarily the determining factor for every team, especially teams that find a way to win in that time period, right? Like the Eagles went to Brazil last week to open their season. Now they come back to Philadelphia. Even though the Falcons aren't perceived to be an elite team this year, they have a veteran quarterback that in the last 5 seasons of the National Football League has led 15 fourth quarter or overtime drives, which shows you the guy knows how to win. I mean, let's be serious. You don't get the contracts Kirk Cousins has got if you're atrocious as a quarterback. And if you go back to yesterday's show, if you missed it, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or the Rome Show on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, whatever, follow us on social media. You go back to what you're saying about Kirk Cousins and our conversation yesterday, and it's like he is one of the top 15 quarterbacks in the league. So if you're the Atlanta Falcons, it's like it could get better, but it could definitely get worse. I'd look around the league. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are benching the number 1 overall draft pick from last year for Andy Dalton, who was not run out of Cincinnati, but politely shipped out of Cincinnati because they were good on the Bengals during that time period, being good, making the postseason, and never winning. So Kirk Cousins is no slum of a quarterback running this Atlanta Falcons offense with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You have weapons there. And the Philadelphia Eagles on the flip side have made it a consistent pattern to lose games like this. According to the statistics, this is the 5th game that the Philadelphia Eagles have lost in the last 2 seasons. 4th game. Last year, the Eagles also lost 3 football games when leading with 2 minutes or less left in the game. That's a real problem. And to go back to the Rocky Romanella sounder, that
right. I want to start hearing that it's important that a team is practicing their defensive 2-minute drill.
Defensive 2-minute drill. Why? Because you see what happens to the Eagles. You play this soft zone, you leave wide open space, and all the Atlanta Falcons have to do is take what you're giving them because, oh, by the way, there's 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. So if each play takes 10 seconds, they go run up 12, get an out, run out of bounds. Okay, now we're down to 130, 125. If we stay inbounds, we were probably down to 115 by the time we get our offense set. If we do that again, you're past the 50-yard line. Now, in realistic opportunity, if any NFL team has 1 minute left and they're past the 50-yard line into opponent's territory, there's a realistic chance in today's game that you can score a touchdown. 0 pressure from the Philadelphia Eagles. No change on defense. 6 plays. The Atlanta Falcons in 1 minute and 8 seconds take the lead. That cannot happen. If you want to be a Super Bowl winning team, that cannot happen. You don't ever see that happen to the Chiefs. You don't ever see that happen to the 49ers. They might lose games. They might play poorly. They're going to obviously make mistakes, but you don't see them lose games that they have in hand. Generally, with great teams, you see them win games that they shouldn't, but they never lose games that they shouldn't either. And that's what makes a team 10-13 and 3 or 2 or 4 or whatever. It makes you 3, 4, 5 games over 500 and solidifies you as a good ball club. I mean, think. The Washington Commanders, I'm not saying they're good. Do not get me wrong. But if that offense continues to develop with Jaden Daniels and they turn into a reasonably really good football team and they are now fighting for a wild card spot, they could look back on week 2 and say, we found a way to win a football game with only field goals. Now, don't get me wrong. Things had to go wrong on the Giants side too, i.e. field goal kicker had to break his leg essentially. But the point being is, if you want a chance, you have to win games that on paper, Steelers week 1, no touchdowns, won the game. That make no sense, but you find a way to win. If you watched that Bengals-Chiefs game the other day, I thought the whole time the Chiefs had a chance because they're the Chiefs. But the Bengals just kept giving you the right hook or the left hook to make you believe like, hey, we're in this thing. We could win this thing. And I felt that. And then here come the Chiefs and they win the football game. And at the end of the day, you look at it and you say to yourself, am I surprised? Because it's the Chiefs. And that's what you expect from their organization. And right now, the Eagles, who are supposed to be one of the best teams in the National Football League, who should be a playoff or a Super Bowl contender, who should be fighting the Dallas Cowboys for the tops of the NFC East, I don't believe look that good after 2 weeks. Okay? I don't think the NFC East in general looks that good after 2 weeks, but the Eagles specifically do not look that good. Last night, Jalen Hurts was 23 of 30 for 183, 1 TD, 1 bad interception at the end of the game. Ran the ball for 13 yards, 85 yards. Saquon had 22 carries, 95 yards. He also had 4 receptions for 21, so over 100 yards from scrimmage for Saquon. No touchdowns today for Saquon Barkley, and the major drop. And you know what's funny is, I'm not even doing this because it's the Saquon thing. You just look at the Giants and the Eagles this week. 1 catch difference in their game. Now, I don't know how the Giants game ends up if Malik Neighbors makes that 4th down catch, but I do know how the Eagles game ends up, and they are 2-0. So you can look at all the numbers you want with Saquon in that offense, but it really does come down to 1 pass catch. And you could tell me they should have ran the football. Fine. You could tell me all of those things. That would have resulted in maybe a minute left on the clock, still a field goal, and a lot less time for Kirk Cousins and the boys with no timeouts. You could tell me all those things. All I know is what I saw last night was that play worked. And Saquon dropped the football. And sometimes it's just as simply easy as breaking that down. Yesterday, I posed a question to the people that I'm going to scroll through the bottom here. I asked you, would you take a chance on drafting a quarterback first overall? Because today we find out, and I just mentioned it before, that Bryce Young is no longer going to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Canales, the head coach of the Panthers, feels like that is the right decision for the team. So never in my life have I ever seen a first overall pick benched for a 14-year veteran in his second year, and it turns out to be a positive for that player on that team. The only person I think I can really think of here is Alex Smith, who had a bad start to his career in San Francisco, eventually started to turn it around. Then Colin Kaepernick kind of took his job when he got hurt, took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. He goes to the Chiefs, spends 4 or 5 years at the Chiefs, and then here comes Patrick Mahomes and the injury and all these other things. But that's the only guy I can really think of. It's not often that a first-round pick then 2 years in kind of gets said, we don't believe in you anymore. And then it turns out to be good. I got a few names for you. Josh Rosen, okay? Josh Rosen, top 10 pick. Where's he? Gone, out of the league, okay? Trey Lance. Hey, how about Trey Lance? 49ers traded up 2 years ago to get Trey Lance. He then got traded to the Cowboys, and I'm guessing is most likely going to be the 3rd-string quarterback or out of the league or on a different team next year. Zach Wilson. There's another name. Jameis Winston. Marcus Mariota. Where's Marcus Mariota right now? I don't know, but he's not starting in the league. So I asked the question, and I really do mean it. Is it worth drafting a quarterback first overall. And not all of those guys were even first overall picks. Let's just say in the top 10. And I showed it yesterday. I pulled it up on the screen. All of the first round quarterbacks. The last time a first overall quarterback, Matthew Stafford, 2000 something, won a Super Bowl, was not even with the team he was drafted by. And all I can continue to see all across the National Football League is quarterbacks that aren't good enough to play the position. Quarterbacks that are QB1 on their team, and then QB2, 3, and 4, forget about it. It is so rare you get a QB2 that ends up being better than a QB1. That was aforementioned Kirk Cousins with Robert Griffin III. How dumb did the then Redskins, now Commanders, look when they drafted both those guys in the same draft? Then Robert Griffin III goes out, tears his ACL, and bam, here comes Kirk Cousins' career. You don't see Robert Griffin III anymore, and your fourth round quarterback in Kirk Cousins is your starting quarterback. How about Russell Wilson, drafted in the fourth round? I believe it was Matt Flynn that the Seattle Seahawks signed in the offseason to be the starting quarterback that year. Here comes Russell Wilson, fourth round rookie, takes the guy's job. We don't even have to begin to talk about Tom Brady. So it's across the history of the league. Lamar Jackson, like 27th pick in the draft. Across the history of the league, it is very few C.J. Strouds and Peyton Mannings and Eli Mannings. There are very few. It doesn't happen often. And it doesn't even need to be far history. Look at recent history. These quarterbacks that are drafted top 10 don't survive. And I think half of it is because of we overhype them. But the other half, which may be more important, is because of the team they're being drafted by. If I'm the best pick in the draft, I don't want to get drafted by the number one pick. Nah, give me pick like 19. You know why? Because that means they have a playoff chance, probably have something established, maybe a good defense, a good offensive line, good coaching staff. I want to be drafted by a team that either just missed the playoffs or made it to the playoffs and lost in the first round. If I'm the quarterback, that's what I want. But drafted first and second overall, it don't work because half of the problem isn't even yours. It's the organization you get drafted to. It's the offensive coach that you have. It's the head coach that you have. And more times than not, those teams suck. So of course they're drafting first overall. So again, I ask this question. If you are a general manager, you have the first pick of the draft. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. With the first pick in the draft, Team Rome Show selects. I can promise you, I will tell you after this commercial break what I'm taking. Plus, the Metropolitans with a big walk-off victory yesterday. The Braves got shellacked. We got some baseball to talk about. And my top 9 remaining undefeated teams in the National Football League. So much to do here. The Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com. Dingo TV, channel 217.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sports book, Click on your bet and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
And he drives for the left, and the Mets win the ball game. Bader comes in with the winning run. Starting Marte with a second opportunity. Drives in the game winner in the 10th, and the Mets win 2-1.
Last night's walk-off. Metropolitans 2-1 over the Nationals. 10th inning.
It has been a bitter struggle for the Mets offense, but they scratch out a run in the 8th, and Marte drives home the winner in the bottom of the 10th. The Dodgers pasting the Braves. Looks like the Mets will gain ground.
Are you thinking Tostitos Fiesta Bowl?
It's the Rome Show!
Hope you enjoyed that little clip from the Metsies last night. Big victory. Big walk-off Starling Marte. Giving some ode to Rocky Romanella, my favorite sounder of all time, played there at the intro. Is this the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl? Happy birthday, Rocky. Hockey with Rocky will return tomorrow. We're nice people here at the Rome Show. We give people their birthdays off. The TikTok, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, whatever social media you follow the Rome Show one, just follow it. We appreciate you. If you were wondering, the Mets now have a 1-game lead on the Atlanta Bravos in the National League Wild Card standings. Essentially, it's a 4-team race, but I see it as a 3-team race for 2 spots. The Padres are 3 up on the Diamondbacks, which puts them 4 up on the Metropolitans, which puts them 5 up on the Braves. The Diamondbacks are 1 game up on the Mets for the second wild card spot, and the Mets are 1 game up on the Braves for that final wild card spot. So, at the end of the day, I think it's a little bit too out of reach for the Padres to drop that lead. Plus, they've won 3 straight. There's only 11 games remaining in their season, and that's a lot of faltering that needs to go on if you're the San Diego Padres. The remainder of their schedule, right now they're playing in a series against the Houston Astros. So then they have the White Sox, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks. So that is not an easy schedule if you're a Padres fan. The remainder of the Metropolitan schedule consists of the Washington Nationals for 2 more, the Phillies for 4, the Braves for 3, and the Milwaukee Brewers for 3. Those 2 teams probably have the hardest schedule remaining. That's why the lead the Padres has built for themselves is huge at this point in time. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they finished their season with 2 more against the Rockies, with which they lost to last night. I would take the over in this game side prop just because they went so under yesterday. I can't imagine that happens 2 nights in a row in Colorado. Then Milwaukee for 4, San Fran for 3, and probably the best thing possible for the Mets and the Braves is San Diego and Arizona end playing themselves. And then the Braves, who we mentioned are the team that's currently, if the season ended today, out of the postseason. The Bravos, they have the Mets second to last series of the year. They finished with the Royals, and then before that's the Reds and the Marlins. They split 2-2 with the Dodgers, which is actually pretty good. But either way, 2 hard, 2 not so hard teams on the docket for the Braves. So what a race we have in the NL. I want to make my predictions. Actually, I'm going to predict here that the Braves and the Mets end up in and the Diamondbacks don't. I don't know why. I just feel that way, that the NL East is going to have 3 teams in this year. And I think all 3 teams I wouldn't want to see. The Braves know how to win. The Phillies know how to win. And the Mets are a scary team right now. Plus, the Mets and the Braves have been playing above 500 baseball for the last month now to keep this race alive. Mets more so than anyone else. The Diamondbacks and the Padres, they've flustered. They have fluttered a little bit. And by the way, the Padres 4 straight victories. Correction, not 3 straight. They are up by 3.5. So I just misread that. Then in the AL side, the Twins, they have a 1.5 game lead over the Detroit Tigers for the last spot. The Mariners have won 3 straight, 7 of their last 10. They are 2 out of that last wild card spot, while the Twins, who hold it, are losers of 3 of their last, or winners of 3 of their last 10, 7 losses in their last 10 games. So it's an interesting race shaping up there. Royals have a 2.5 game lead on the Twins, and the Baltimore Orioles have a 5 game lead on the Twins, 2.5 on the Royals. So it looks to be that the Orioles will hold that last wildcard spot unless somehow they find a way to get up on the Yankees in the AL East. Let's finish with some football, a lot of baseball, 11 games left, 12 games left. Some teams, lot to be determined. Lock in on the baseball. Let's put that really cool sound on. All right, we got our top 9 undefeated teams right here. These are the teams I think are going to be playing really, really good football for the remainder of the year. 1 through 5. 6 through 9, we're undetermined with yet. Okay, that's how this list works. Does that make sense? All right, sweet. We'll start with number 9. That would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they have a great coach. They're very, very good defense. But unfortunately, until you give me a quarterback I believe can put up consistent points and a consistency in the offensive line without the flags, I cannot believe fully in the Steelers. So they are my least of the undefeated teams. They come in at number 9. Number 8, that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe in what's going on in Tampa Bay. I believe in a team that can go to Detroit and can win the game that they won. I do think Baker Mayfield's playing some of the best football of his career. I just don't know if it's real or not yet. I don't know. Okay. I have to see a little bit more for me to believe in it. So they're the number 8 undefeated team. The Seattle Seahawks. I feel like I've seen a little bit more from this team and this organization, even though this situation of people has not necessarily won a lot in terms of Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker III, Tyler Lockett, whatever. But I do think that there's something there, and there is veteran presence there. It feels like they can sustain this. I'm going to take the Seahawks as my number 7 undefeated team. The Chargers come in at number 6. I'm starting to believe more and more in the Chargers, more and more in Justin Herbert, more and more in what I see from Harbaugh leading this group. But at the end of the day, and oh, by the way, J.K. Dobbins has found himself as a Charger, 266 yards in the first 3 games. I just don't know how good their schedule has been. I need to see them play some more teams, and I just need to see it a little bit more before I can put them in the top 5. So here we go. The 5 teams that are 2-0 that I would rank as the top 5 teams, and I also probably put them in the tops in the league right now based on the way they're playing.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not the button.
Number 5.
We got the Minnesota Vikings. The only reason why I don't fully believe in the Vikings higher is because Sam Darnold's their quarterback, and I need to see more from Sam Darnold to believe he can do what others have done. Now, but then again, their quarterback was Kirk Cousins for the last 5 years, who we broke down today already. So is it a huge change? Probably not if Sam Darnold plays to the potential he should play to. So I think the Vikings actually can sustain this. Good coaching staff, good defense. I think they're a good football team.
Numero 4.
Numero 4 would be the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have gone off 91 points in 2 weeks. They are 15 drives, 15 touchdowns. They went off so much I started popping off on Derek Carr in my fantasy leagues in terms of getting him off the waiver wire. I actually do believe in it. Alvin Kamara looks like he's Alvin Kamara of the last 7 years. No drop off whatsoever. I think this team trended this way towards the end of the year last year, and I feel like they can out-offense a lot of teams. Their defense is pretty good. I don't think it's great, but if you can score 40-plus in 3 straight games, you can be a really good football team. I got the Saints at number 4.
3.
Wait.
Houston Texans. That's it. I'm starting to believe more and more in this team. D'Amico Ryans, the way they play, they can win in a shootout. They can win ugly. They can win on the road. They can win at home. They can win with the running game. They can win with the passing game. They can win with a balance of both. They are a very complete football team, and I do believe that Houston Texans are going to be someone to be dealt with for the next 8 to 10 years in the AFC, led by C.J. Stroud. Great job out of D'Amico Ryans. And oh, by the way, Nico Collins said this last week, drafted in every fantasy league, legit wide receiver. Texans number 3.
Number 2.
All right, Leach.
Give me the Buffalo Bills. Why the Buffalo Bills? Because I can't fully believe in them over the Chiefs, who are going to be my
Number 1.
Uno.
Because until you knock off the Chiefs, I cannot believe that they're not the best team, especially if I'm ranked undefeated teams. I believe in the Bills and Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, and I believe in the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So give me the Bills number 2 and the Chiefs number 1. If you're in a survivor pool as well, take one of those two or take whoever's playing the Panthers, because both of those are, I believe, to be true all year. The Bills and the Chiefs will win 11 plus football games each, and the Panthers maybe win 1 or 2. That's my top 9 undefeated teams remaining in the National Football League, and I finish with this. You should take the Dodgers minus 1.5 against the Marlins. You should take Bobby Witt getting a hit tonight because he's leading Major League Baseball in average at 332. And you should take Carlos Correa getting a hit because he has 358 batting average, best in Major League Baseball in the last 14 games. We had Saquon over 17.5 last night, but we lost on our other 2. Pitts only had 3 receptions, and the Eagles did not win. So 1 and 2 night for Andrew. And I hope we bounce back with a 3-0 baseball evening today. That's been the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV channel 217, Andrew Romanella, The Rome Show, Instagram and Twitter, 1, I should say. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Be electric today. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Peace!
Thank you for listening.